Welcome back. Today, on occasion of Gandhi Jayanti and Lal Bahadur Shastri's Jayanti, our class is making a grand tribute to Mohandas Karamchand Mahatma Gandhiji and Lal Bahadur Shastri. And this Mahatma Gandhiji is forever the only father of the nation India, and no one is eligible to copy this title. Let us see the history and the parts of the struggles what Gandhi has made. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was an Indian revolutionary and religious leader who used his religious power for political and social reform. Although he had no governmental office, he was the main force behind the second largest nation in the world's struggle for independence. In the early years, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born on October 2nd, 1869 in Porbandar, India, a sea-coast town in the Kathiawar Peninsula north of Bombay in the India. His wealthy family was from one of the higher classes. He was the fourth child of Karamchand Gandhi, Prime Minister to the Raja ruler for three small cities or states, and Putlibai, his fourth wife. Gandhi described his mother as a deeply religious woman who attended the temple, a place for worships for religious people, and service daily. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was a small, quiet boy who disliked sports and was only an average student at the age of 13. He did not even know in the advance that he was to marry Kasturibai, a girl his own age. Childhood ambition of Mohandas was to study medicine, but as this was considered beneath his caste, his father persuaded him to study law instead. After his marriage, Mohandas finished high school and then he was realized that going far away with another person, and Mohandas finished his high school and tutored his wife. In September 1888, Gandhi went to England to study before leaving India. He promised his mother he would try not to eat meat. He was an even stricter vegetarian while away than he had been at home. In England, he studied law but never completely adjusted to the English way of life. He became a lawyer in 1891 and sailed for Bombay. He attempted unsuccessfully to practice law in Rajkot and Bombay, then, for a brief period, served as a lawyer for the Prince of Porbandar. South Africa, the beginning was there. In 1893, Gandhi accepted an offer from a firm of Muslims to represent them legally in Pretoria, the capital of Transvaal in the Union of South Africa. And in 1896, Gandhi returned to India to take his wife and sons to Africa and to inform his countrymen of the poor treatment of Indians there. News of his speechless filtered back to Africa, and when Gandhi returned, an angry mob threw stones and attempted lynch to murder by mob action and without lawful trial on him. Spiritual development in Gandhi has begun to day course of unpaid borders of the lowest caste and encouraged his wife to do the same. He decided to buy a farm in Natal and returned to a simpler way of life. He began to fast, not to eat. In 1906, he became celibate, not engaging, and after having fathered four sons, and he preached brahmacharya, vow of celibacy, as means of birth control and spiritual purity. He also began to live a life of voluntary poverty. During this period, Gandhi developed the concept of satyagraha or soul force. He wrote, Satyagraha is not predominantly civil disobedient, but a quiet and irresistible pursuit of truth. Truth was throughout his life of Gandhi's and as reflected in the subtitle of his autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with the Truth. Gandhi also developed a basic concern for the means used to achieve a goal. In 1907, Gandhi urged all Indians in South Africa to defy a law requiring registration and fingerprinting of all Indians. For this activity, he was imprisoned for 2 months but released when he agreed to voluntary registration. During Gandhi's second stay in a jail, he read the American essayist Henry David Thoreau's essay Civil Disobedience, which left a deep impression on him. He was also influenced by his correspondence with the Russian novelist Leo Tolstoy. One technique Gandhi used frequently was the fast. He firmly believed that Hindu Muslim unity was natural and he undertook a 21-day fast to bring the two communities together. He also fasted during the strike of mill workers in Ahmedabad. Another technique he used was the protest march. In response to a British tax on all salt used by Indians, a severe hardship on the peasants, Gandhi began his famous 24-day salt march to the sea. Several thousand marchers walked 241 miles to the coast in protest of the unfair law. Another cause Gandhi supported was improving the status of members of the low caste or Harijans. On September 20, 1932, Gandhi began a fast for the Harijans, opposing a British plan for separate voting body for them. As a result of Gandhi's fast, some temples were opened to exterior castes for the first time in the Indian history. Gandhi devoted the years 1934 through 1939 to the promotion of making fabric-based education and making Hindi the national language. During these years, he worked closely with Jawaharlal Nehru in the Congress Working Government Committee. Despite differences of opinion, Gandhi designated Nehru his successor, saying, I know this, that when I am gone, he will speak my language. And his sayings is, Children, there is not a single country in the whole world where the name of Mahatma Gandhi is not known. Do you know why Gandhiji became so famous? It was because he dedicated his whole life to the service of the motherland and service of humanity. Today, I am going to tell you in brief the story of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, or Bapuji, as he is affectionately called. In the early days, our country was made up of a large number of small princely kingdoms. Porbandar in Gujarat was one of such princely kingdom. Gandhiji's father, Karamchand Gandhi, popularly known as Kaba, was a minister there. Kaba Gandhi was an honest, upright man, a strict disciplinarian, and very tempered. His wife, Putli Bai, was an extremely religious person. She would not have her meal until she had worshipped the sun. Hence, sometimes in the rainy season, she would go hungry for 2 to 3 days at a stretch. She was a very loving person and immensely hardworking. To these parents, a son was born on October 2nd, this day, back of 1869. He was their youngest son. He was called Mohandas. He was our Gandhiji. The strict discipline of his father, the religious bent of mind of his mother, all influenced Gandhiji greatly. From his cleaning sense, Swachh Bharat has been existed. After qualifying as a barrister, he set up his practice as a lawyer in Rajkot as he did not get much work there. He came to Bombay. Even in Bombay, he did not get any cases. Finally, he got one case. He prepared well for it, but in court, he was unable to present it satisfactorily. Disappointed, he felt he would never make a successful lawyer. Just at the time, Gandhiji's elder brother managed to get him a case. He was asked to represent Mr. Abdullah, a rich businessman in South Africa. After much deliberation, Gandhiji agreed to accept the case. He left his homeland and set up sail for Africa in 1895. Although there were many Indians staying in Africa at the time, all the power was in the hands of the British people. They considered themselves superior and treated the Indians and the natives in a most insulting manner. Gandhiji undertook Abdullah's case and handled it well. The Indians were very much impressed and wanted Gandhiji to stay on in Africa. In connection with his work, Gandhiji traveled a good deal. However, he was treated very badly by the British people. Whenever he went up, he had to face insults and rudeness. At times, he was even physically assaulted. One day, when he was traveling from Durban to Pretoria in the first class compartment of a train, a British man boarded the compartment. On seeing Gandhiji, the British man got furious. He called the railway officer and both ordered him to get out of the train. Since Gandhiji had purchased a first class ticket, he was refused to do so. However, they paid no heed to him. Gandhiji also did not budge. Finally, the police was summoned. They pushed him out of the compartment and threw his luggage out of the window. Gandhiji had to spend the whole night on the platform. This was only one of the many humiliating experiences Gandhiji has to face. He had decided to return to India on the completion of his work in Africa. But the plight of Indians there disturbed him greatly. He resolved to stay and fight the unjust and inhuman laws that were imposed on them. For even everywhere there was discrimination, there was one set of rules for the Indians and natives and a different set for the British people. However, in its freedom fight, India had to pay a village to village and advise the people that for the good of the country, it was necessary for everyone to work together in unity and harmony. Equal opportunities and equal status was that he wanted. Although Gandhiji strived so hard for unity, there were some people who were under the misconception that Gandhi favored the one community. On 30 January 1948 in Delhi, when Gandhiji set up to attend a prayer meeting, he was shot dead by an assailant. His last words were, "Hey Ram." People all over the world paid rich tribute to Gandhi. The great Mahatma life had come to an end. The news shocked everyone. Not only India, but the whole world mourned the death of the great man, a real Mahatma who had dedicated his entire life to the service of humanity. As on this occasion, another great leader's birthday, Lal Bahadur Shastri. He said, "The preservation of freedom is not the task of soldiers alone. The whole nation has to be strong. We all have to work in our respective spheres with the same dedication, the same zeal, and the same determination which inspired and motivated the warrior on the battlefront. And this has to be shown not by mere words but by actual deeds." Quoted Chirlal Bahadur Shastri, 2nd October 1904, 11th January 1966.
वैष्णव जन तो लेने कहिए जे वीर परा